illusion. There is nothing real about it. And the cause of all our sufferings is the lack of knowledge of ourselves as to who we are. And because of that lack of the descriptive knowledge, being attracted and being immersed in the objects and activities of the world. All right. So, it is because of this illusion we get into this suffering. How to get rid of the illusion? How to get rid of this illusion? The way to, supposing you saw a serpent in the evening when you came, supposing it was only an illusion and there was no serpent at all, but that has caused a lot of problems in your mind. You were so afraid, your heart is palpitating, and you are congratulating yourself, my Lord, I was about to put my foot over it, and fortunately, luckily I saw that, otherwise God knows, by this time I would have been admitted in the hospital. The way to take off this illusion, there is only one method. How long will this illusion last? This illusion lasts as long as you do not know the reality which is at the stratum of the illusion. So that reality based on which the illusion has been framed, that is called the adhisthana. He says, Yavan Nagyajate Brahma Sarvadhisthana Advayam. This illusion will last only so long as you do not know the reality behind this world. The reality behind this world being that supreme consciousness known as Brahma. Yavat na Brahma jnayate. Yavat, till such time as Brahma na jnayate. Na jnayate, you do not realize that Brahman which is behind it all. If there was no Brahman, there would have been no world at all. Because any illusion comes based on some reality. We are not forced to imagine a serpent or an elephant where there is nothing. Something should have been there, and on that existence, you are able to imagine the existence of something else. There was a rope existing, and you imagined or superimposed on it the existence of a serpent. So, what is called adhisthana? Adhisthana means that base, the presence of which, if discovered and found, it removes that illusion. That is what is called the adhisthana. Adhisthana means the rope. So the day you bring a torch and then you find the rope, then the snake disappears, there will be no longer any snake, and you will have no cause to fear. That's all. All your sufferings are removed because the illusion has been removed. The illusion has been removed because the substratum, the base on which this illusion was based, has been discovered and formed. That's all. And the same thing happens here. You have to discover that Brahman, that supreme consciousness. The moment you get, and that supreme consciousness is of the nature of a knowledge. What is that knowledge? That knowledge is simply that I am. That's all, nothing more. It is only the existence, it is only the being remaining as that. That's all. See, when Moses, when he was taking the Jews out of their slavery from Pharaoh, and when he was going on the commands of the Lord that he will give them some new place, then en route he goes to the mountain of wisdom, where he finds a beautiful fire burning, and the fire represented knowledge at that time. And she asked, who are you? And then it answers, I am what I am. That's all. It is only existence. It's only being. What else can it say? The ultimate supreme being cannot describe itself in any other way except as that I amness, that I am. That's all. Nothing more. So, yavanna jayate brahma sarvadhishthanam. It is not the substratum of only one illusion. Because the entire world is an illusion. The flora and the fauna, the plants, the animals, the doors, the pillars, the light, the fan, everything is an illusion. And all these illusions are based only on the reality of that one Brahman, which has created it all. Just as in your dream, you are all alone, and you created a beautiful landscape of South Africa, where you find yourself in a forest, and you are accompanied by some 50 hunters, and you are surrounded by 1,000 elephants. You are seeing it all in your small room of 6 feet into 2 feet, and you are visualizing this entire thing. So this entire time and space, along with the elephants, and along with so many hunters, this entire thing was superimposed on that one reality, which was yourself, the dreamer. The dreamer alone was true. So, sarvadhishtana, advayam. Not only that, you can't say that there is more than one substratum for an illusion. If there is an illusion, there will be only one base, one adhishtanam for it. So, here in this case, the Brahman, it happens to be the only substratum. It is a non-dual substratum, advayam. Actually, advayam, dvayam means two. Advayam means where there is no two, when it alone is. But then advayam has got a deeper significance. Advayam has got almost the meaning of akhanda. Akhanda means that which is only one without parts, which is one whole, which is not differentiated, undifferentiated one whole, then there will be nothing else. What happens is, when you say something is different from you, another person is there, you don't see the Brahman, you say, he is different from me. I say Mr. Natarajan, I say this is Shantananda, that is Mr. Natarajan. I am seeing him as a second thing, something separate from me. This separateness has got a beautiful connotation. We have got 3 types of differences. In Sanskrit we call it as Swajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata Bheda. There are 3 types of differences. What are those 3 types? One is Vijatiya. I am a horse and that is a cow. So, this horse and cow, they belong to different species. So, one is the difference of the very species. I am a man and that is a tree. So, the very species can be different and that is one type of difference. Then, there could be another type. There are so many men. So, among the men, he is different. He is Mr. Natarajan, I am Shantananda, he is Dr. O, he is Mr. Ramaswamy here. So like that, even though all are men, each one you have got a different form and name you are giving, a name and form. So even in the same species, there is difference between item to item, thing to thing, person to person. That is called Sajatiya Bheda. Jati means that species. Sajatiya means in the same species. So there could be a difference in the same species. The third one is something very interesting. That is called Swagata Bheda. There are differences in yourself. I am not concerned with anybody. I am there, but I am made up of parts. With the result, my hand is different from the foot. My foot is different from the eye. My eye is different from the nose. So, I am not one whole. I am consisting of parts which are different from each other. So, I can't call myself as Advaitin. Because there is differentiation, even within myself. So, that is called the self-made differences. Even within oneself, you have got differences. So, Advaya means neither of these three types of differences exist. It is 100% undifferentiated. That's all. So, that is what is called the Advayam. Advayam and Akhandam, many people consider it as having a similar connotation. Now we come to the eighth. And you see, when he says this world is real as long as the ignorance lasts. Here I would like to say, Shankara has distinguished three types of truths. The one type of truth is called transactional truth, that is called the Vyavaharika Satya. See, even though it is actually unreal, but this looks real, and so long as it is real, you require your food, you require your breakfast, as soon as the bell goes, you go for it. So all these things are required, so for transactional purposes you behave as if everything is real. So this has got the relative reality, which is called the transactional reality or Vyavaharika Satya. The second type of truth is the Swapna or your dream. That is called Pratibhasika Satya. Pratibhasika Satya means a truth only in appearance. That's all. It just disappears. So long as it appears, it looks like a truth. That is our dream. The dream doesn't last forever. The dream lasts for a few minutes, but as long as it lasts, whatever happens to the dream, it looks very real to us, so it only appears. Bhasa means appearance. Pratibhasa means the external appearance, that's all. So it is called the Pratibhasika Satya, that which externally appears to be true. Then the third truth is the real truth, is the ultimate truth. That he calls it as Paramarthika Satya. Paramarthika means the ultimate, that is the final one, there is no more truth other than that. That is the last and the ultimate truth which covers all truth. All these other things look or appear like real because of this reality. This ultimate truth is a substratum for the other two truths, and that is called the Paramarthika Satya. That is the ultimate truth. So there are three types which Shankara believes in. Now, we come to the next. Upadane chitadhare jaganti parameshware sargasthiti layan janti buddhugani vavarini. Now, in the previous one he said, the moment you know the substratum, the illusion will vanish. And we have said, the substratum of the illusion of this entire world is that one supreme being. Now a question will be raised, how do you know, on what basis have you concluded that Brahman is the Adhisthana for the entire world? I do not know. Please tell me as to what tests you have applied to come to the conclusion that the entire world looks like a world. I can nowhere, even in a small aperture, I can't get a glimpse of that so-called Brahman. At the same time, this is such a big book where the Shankara very clearly says the substratum of all this illusion is the Brahman. Yes, he may have said because he has gone to that level of consciousness. But I have not gone to the level of consciousness. Perhaps not many of us have gone to the level of consciousness. So how to believe? Can you give me any other reasoning by which in our common sense, a man can know, yes, Brahman should be the cause for all these things. That he is giving here. What happens is, what is it which is called the adhisthana or the substratum? The substratum is that presence in which an appearance arises, an appearance and an illusion is born, and that illusion is being carried on and sustained for some time, and finally it is in that one the illusion dies, because the moment I have ferreted out through my torch that this is only a row, the serpent has disappeared. So the serpent finally disappears where? Has it gone out? Has it run away? No, it has disappeared in its substratum. Where from did it come? Did it come from outside, from any of the forest? No, it came out of the rope. It is the rope which gave it the illusion. So this illusion was born with the rope. It was sustained by the rope because the rope was 3 feet long. So I considered that serpent also was 3 feet long. And this was curved in 3 places. So I thought it is a serpent which is curved in 3 places. So it was completely being sustained by the rope. And finally, the moment I brought the torch, it disappeared into the rope. So from that, it will see another example I'll give you. A pot is made of mud. So before the pot is made, the mud alone was there. The clay was there. So in the clay only, the illusion of a pot was made. Pot is after all clay. That's all. So the illusion of a form has been created in the clay. Now, so long as this pot lasts, the mud is there, the clay is there. If once the clay dissolves, if once the clay disintegrates, there will be no more any pot. So this pot is being sustained by the substratum, namely the clay. And finally a day comes, the pot falls down and is broken. Broken to what? It becomes the clay. The clay is mixed up in the clay. Dust unto the dust. Clay unto the clay. That's all. So, here again, the illusion of, as if there is a separate thing called the pot. There is nothing called the pot. After all, it is made of only clay. It is clay alone. So the name and form were all imagined by you. You made some form and you called it as pot. You could have called it as cock. You could have called it as a rat. You just call it only a name. There is nothing, no fundamental change. There is no chemical change in it. That's all. It is simple clay. So, this is the only test by which you can know as to what is the adhisthana. So here it is going to say, this entire world must have come out of something. Because the entire world goes according to a set plan, a set system. A mango tree, it fructifies only into mangoes. It doesn't forget itself and one day it doesn't give 2 or 3 bananas. And similarly, a lady, a human lady, she gives birth only to human children. Only she doesn't forget and she doesn't give birth to 1 or 2 cows. No. So, whatever you may say, you may call it the genes and all that, the question remains, who put these genes only in a particular thing? The genes of a mango tree only in the mango seed, the genes of a tea only in the tea plant. Who did it? How did it happen? How does it sometimes get interchanged? How does it happen at all? So, any system, it means there should be a system maker. There should be somebody who is in charge of the system. So naturally, when such a beautiful thing is going on, you see, the Jupiter, the Venus, and all these planets, they are all revolving in incredible speeds. And even when we go in a set road, we suddenly find accidents. The other day I found a lorry here having had an accident. It just goes and dashes against another one. All these things happen in such an infinite space with an incredible speed. Not even a day we have heard when the Jupiter has come and dashed against the Earth, or the Earth has gone and dashed against your Venus, or the Venus has gone and dashed against your Mars. Till today we have never heard of it. So they are all being, even that incredible space, they are all being kept to that particular course. So that means there should be a Mali, there should be a master who is in charge of them all. There should be a real controller. So here he is saying, Upadane Khiladhare Jaganti Parameshware Sargasthiti Layan Yanti Udbudani Bhavarini. How do you know that Brahman is the substratum for the entire world? Here he says, look here, the entire world was created by that master, whom we may call the Supreme Consciousness, call him the Supreme Being, call him the Brahma, call him Krishna, call him Shiva, you call him by any name. That is the Supreme Master. That's all. So, this entire world was created out of him. And it is being sustained by him. Otherwise, how does it happen? We know, there's a story that Shivaji, he was extremely proud that he was able to provide meals for so many laborers. He had some big project of building a fortress in Maharashtra. And so he was feeding some thousands of laborers. Then his Guru Samatram came. He brought him, sure, please see, how many laborers are feeding? Oh, you are feeding, very good, very good. Then he took him aside somewhere, and there was a rock lying down. He said, Shivaji, please break it into two pieces, somewhere in the middle. Then he immediately called for an axe, and then he broke it into two pieces. Inside that rock he found, there was a small aperture or a hole, and inside which there was a small ant, and it was carrying a grain of either rice or something it was keeping in his mouth. He just looked at Shivaji. Shivaji understood. If the Lord would provide for a small ant inside the rock, what ego for me to assume that I am feeding all these 1,000 laborers is just a fell at the feet of his Guru. This is what happened. So, the one who sustains this entire world is the Lord. Then, finally, where does the entire world go when there is a deluge? Even when there is a small cyclone, you find what a sort of devastation it has created in places like Orissa. And if only you imagine when there is an entire deluge, a Mahapralaya, when all the cyclones of the world are together coming up, then what's the question? The entire world will be nowhere. So the one who dissolves them, so the world that comes up from that Supreme Master, the world is being sustained by that Supreme Master, and the world ultimately gets dissolved into the Supreme Master. He alone remains. He remained earlier, before the creation. He remained afterwards, that is, after the dissolution too. And this is the real test, because of which he says, Brahman is the substratum. So know that Brahman, know that Supreme Consciousness, all your illusion will vanish and automatically all your sufferings and hardships will come to an end. Upadane Khiladare Jaganti Parameshware. So, Jaganti is the plural of Jagat. Jagat, Jagati, Jaganti. Jaganti means all the worlds. We are only seeing one world, while there are so many galaxies, there are ever so many worlds which you can see when you are in different levels of consciousness. Then you can see them. There are various levels. So all these worlds, Upadane Parameshware, Parameshware, in the great overlord, Parameshware, Ishvara means the Lord, Parameshware is the overlord. Why that word Parameshware? Ishvara means we understand is God. Then why then the Parameshwara, the Supreme God, then are there two gods, one inferior and one superior God? In Vedanta, there is a what happens is the ultimate thing, we call it the Supreme Consciousness, which is of the form of Satchidananda, which is existence, knowledge and bliss. That is, which is aware of its own self. I am, that's all. That is the ultimate. So where somebody reminds in I amness, he reminds in the Supreme Being. I am, nothing more. No question of I am a human being. No question of I am a male, I am a female, I am 20 years old, I am 80 years old. Nothing. Unqualified, remaining only in that amness. Remaining in that. So that is the Supreme Being whom we call as Parabrahma. The Supreme Being. We call him sometimes as Brahman, but sometimes we call him as Parabrahma. Now, that Lord, that Parabrahman, he creates this illusion of this world. How does he create? He doesn't move his hand or foot. Because he is considered as absolutely inactive. Then what happens? His power, known as Maya or Prakriti. Prakriti, we call it as nature, but Prakriti is not nature. Unfortunately, Prakriti means a particular power of that Lord which contains in itself three constituents. The three constituents are the three qualities. Number one, the quality of light, harmony, friendship, and that is what is called Sattva Guna. Then, it also contains what is called the Raja Guna, that is the quality of dynamism, moving, always active, doing some project or other, and having consequently Kama, Krodha, passion, and then anger with other people. All these things naturally come when you are active, when you want to finish, when you want to go ahead with some big projects. Whenever any obstacles come, then you feel resentment, you feel angry, and you begin to entertain hatred towards the people who are standing in the way of your completion of your project. So all these things do happen. So, the ultimate is called the Parameshwara. He is also known as the Parabrahman. Then, through his Shakti consisting of three, Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna and Tamo Guna. Tamo Guna consists of lassitude, laziness, the inclination to postpone doing things for tomorrow, day after tomorrow, like that. So, these three gunas are in equilibrium at first. And at that time, nobody can see that power. So that power is also called Abjakta, the unmanifested power of God. Then this Prakriti, it manifests itself in the various forms. It becomes the entire world. It becomes the animals. It becomes the God. It becomes men. It becomes God. First, it becomes as what happens. Once you have started a project and you have put somebody that you do the project, you would like to have some independent supervisor. So even though Prakriti is his own power, that Supreme Being has kept one controller over it. He is called the Ishvara. Ishvara, or what you call as the God with attributes. Because once you have to be in touch with the world, once you have to create the world, once you are sustaining the world, then sustenance means whenever anybody feels depressed, anybody is in difficulty, you have to go and help him around. And if you are formless, who will believe in you? So as such, at that level, the Lord assumes forms as the Trinity, as the Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. The one creates, the other one looks after, the Vishnu looks after the entire world, and Shiva is in charge of the dissolution, the final deluge, the final pralaya, the final dissolution. Not only that, it is only in the broad being. But if you go beyond the broad being, these trinities by themselves, they have taken several mini editions of God, the forms of several mini editions, which you may call it as Ayyappan, Santoshi, Manasi, Vaishnavi Devi, and the millions of gods whom we worship. They are all the mini versions of these three. And these three happen to be the mini versions of that one Supreme. So, when you say Ishvara, by that you mean this God with attributes that Ishvara, who has taken the three forms of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, and who works in collaboration with the assistance of Maya. Maya is his handmaid. Neither he can dismiss her because she has been placed by the board of directors, that is by the Supreme Being. So he can't deliver it as to work with Maya, but he is not under Maya. It is a co-director in the board. He has worked with it. And the Prakriti, after having taken the form of Ishvara on one hand, it has also taken the form of Jiva. Jiva means the individual soul. It has taken the form of so many bodies, bodies of animals, bodies of plants, bodies of men, and then within each body there is a consciousness which calls itself that I am Mr. X, I am Mr. Y, I am Robert, I am Harry, I am Dick. So thus the frame has been made. So this Jiva is a creation of Maya in collaboration with the Ishvara. That is how it is. So, in order to distinguish that ultimate Lord, the Supreme Being, from the God with attributes who is supposed to be temporarily in charge of the world as long as it lasts, we call him as Parameshwara, the ultimate controller, the supreme controller of the Supreme Being, while the other ones who are closely in contact with us as Lord Shiva and all that, we call him as Ishvara. This is on the one side. But on the practical side of the spiritual sadhana, the Upanishads themselves say, so long as you think that Shiva is different from the Divine Mother, the Divine Mother is different from Ganesha, you will get only limited results because you are limiting those lords into these mini versions. You consider as mini only, otherwise, if they are all infinite, there cannot be more than one infinite. Otherwise, there will be jurisdiction problem. One is infinite means everything is covered by it. How can there be another infinite? Then where will its jurisdiction be? Then it will be restricted. It cannot be called infinite. There cannot be two infinites. There can only be one infinite. And as such, the Upanishads say, you do the upasana of this Vishnu, Shiva, the Divine Mother, but in your attitude, you don't think it is a separate small God. You say it is my Brahman, it is the ultimate Lord. So I believe in Shiva as my Ishtadevata, as my favorite God, but my God is not a separate God. He is Ganesha, He is the Divine Mother, He is Ayyappan, He is everything, He is the Supreme Being. If you worship Him with that attitude, you will get moksha. If you worship Him in a smaller way, you will get your promotions, your son will get his IIT entrance, your son will get into the MBBS, you will become a billionaire, all your material satisfaction will be ensured, but you may not get that ultimate thing called that infinite bliss. And that you can get it only when you go and completely merge yourself into that ultimate Supreme Being. That Supreme Being you may consider as with form or without form. So long as you get your communication with Him in any form, with any attribute, we will reach Him. This is what the Upanishads teach us. Upadane kiladhare jaganti parameshware. So this entire world, jaganti, all the worlds, parameshware, in that ultimate Lord, who is Upadhana and Akhiladhara. Akhiladhara means that ultimate Supreme Being which is the substratum or the Adhisthana. Adhisthana and Adhara are synonymous terms. So Adhara means the base, the substratum. So the substratum for the entire world is Parameshwara. So in that substratum, it is not only a substratum, here he has used one extra word called the Upadana. Well, I had explained in earlier times. Whenever there is a creation, there is a creation of a pot, the pot should have a cause. Any effect must have a cause, it cannot create itself. But there will be three types of causes. One type is called the material cause, the second type is called the efficient cause, and the third type is called the instrumental cause. When the pot is to be made, it has to be made out of some material. So the material out of which is made that clay, that is called the material cause, that is called the Upadana. Upadana or Upadana Karana, both mean the same thing. Upadana means the material cause which constitutes the main material out of which the creation is made of. That is what is called Upadana. But now, the clay by itself cannot convert itself into a pot. It requires a potter who will sit by the side. He will knead it with water. So naturally, that potter, he is another cause, but he is not the main cause, he is not the one who forms the material, but he is also equally required, and him we call the efficient cause, because of whose efficiency you are able to create the pot. And then there are some subsidiary causes which are required. A potter cannot do these things unless there is a wheel. And in that wheel, there are some pegs. So he will put them in it and he will roll the wheel and some process or that. That's how it happens. So this wheel, and he will have a stick. With that stick, he will put it inside that raw mud or clay. He will try to give them a shape somewhere, because somewhere it will be depressed. He will put it inside and try to raise it up. So, this stick, this wheel, they are all called the subsidiary causes, and that is called the instrumental cause. We call it as Sahakari Karana, Upadana Karana, Nimitta Karana, and Sahakari Karana. That is the material cause, the efficient cause, and the instrumental cause. And as far as this Lord is concerned, He is the main material cause, Upadani. So He is the substratum. He is the main material cause. Substratum in the sense, He is the very base. Without Him nothing can happen. In other words, when once He has said Akhiladhara, it means that He is also the potter who is creating the pot. When don't you say that he is Upadana, that means he is also the material cause. So we call that Supreme Being as Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. That is, he is both the efficient cause as well as the material cause, both together combined. He is the potter and he is also the clay of which this pot is made. This pot called a man is made. So, Upadane Akhiladhare Parameshware. In that Supreme Lord, which happens to be the substratum of the entire world and which also happens to be the material cause of the entire world, in that Sarga Sthiti Layan Yanti. They arise in that. Sarga means creation or birth. Sthiti means sustenance. Laya means dissolution. So all these three, it happens, Yanti. All these three happen in that Lord itself. They arise from the Supreme Lord, the entire world. They are being sustained by the Supreme Lord till I am 80 years old, 90 years old, whether I am a beggar, whether I am a monk, then somebody is sustaining me. Otherwise, how does it happen that when without anything I go anywhere and I get everything, I get my clothes, I get my food. So even if I can survive, that means there is somebody who is looking after me. So the sustenance is also being done by the Supreme Being. Sargasthita Layan Yanti. All these words, finally, they get their birth, their sustenance, and their final dissolution in that Supreme Lord only. And to understand it, he is giving a small analogy. Budbuddha Niva Varini. Just like the bubbles which arise from the water. So the bubbles, they arise in the water. The bubbles continue for some time in the water, and finally the bubbles dissolve and get merged into the water. So naturally, the adhisthana or the substratum for these bubbles is only water. Similarly, the substratum for this world is Brahman. That has been proved. The question was, how do you say that Brahman is the adhishthanam? So that has been answered in this. The next bit. Satchidatman anusyude nitye vishnu prakalpita vyaktajo vividha sarvaha hatake katakadipati. Now another question has cropped up. All right, I agree that Brahman is the substratum for the entire world. So this illusion of the world has come up because there is something real behind it. That is, the Brahman is there. So the moment I know the reality, the moment I know this rope, I know that there is no more serpent. The serpent vanishes. Similarly, the moment I know that Brahman, the world vanishes. When the world vanishes, all my troubles are over. That's all. All the troubles have come because of the world. During your sleep, you have got absolutely no trouble. How beautifully you sleep. You forgot all your pains of the body. And even if you were bandaged that day, even if you were subject to a very big accident, and the orthopedic doctor has put a big bandage and I am having terrific agony, but when once I begin to sleep, I am not aware of the bandage, I am not aware of my problems, I sleep well. That's all. So, here the question is now going to raise is, all right, I agree, but then you yourself have said that Brahman doesn't act by itself. Brahman is inactive. It is called Nishkriya. It performs no action at all. When it performs no action, how does it create an illusion at all? I mean, how this Jagat Utpatti, how this world is created. You said the world is created, sustained and dissolved. That means he is creating it, and he is sustaining it, and he is dissolving it. And you said that he doesn't do anything. Then what about this? They seem to be contradictory lies. Now further he is going to answer. He says, it doesn't do any of these things. The entire thing is just like the movements in a dream. In the dream you saw yourself as a king, and you saw that you have gone hunting somewhere into a big forest. But did you move? You never moved out of your bed. You never moved out of the house. You were inactive. But then where from that action was seen then? The entire action was an illusion, that's all. So similarly, the entire world which you are seeing, that as if it is being created, as if it is functioning for a long time, as if it one day gets into the delusion, it is completely lost, the entire thing was only an illusion. How is it an illusion? He says, look here, there was only the substratum, but it is you who has been seeing it in a different light. Hatake katakadi. There is only gold. You go to a jewelry shop. There inside he has got a workshop where he is working on the golden nuggets. There are big golden nuggets are there, golden blocks are there. From one of the chaps, she is preparing a necklace. How does she prepare? It's pure gold. He doesn't add anything. So he chisels out some portions. By chiseling out in an expert way, he is able to manufacture one necklace. Then another chap is working in an exactly similar, another golden board. So from that board, he is preparing a beautiful earring. That's also a golden ring. Then a third chap, he is preparing a bracelet. Kataka means a bracelet, which they normally prepare. It's also called as kankana in Sanskrit. So he is preparing a bracelet to be worn in the hand, a big bracelet. How does he prepare? He chisels it out in a different way. So he gives a different shape, but ultimately it's all gold, gold and gold. But then, when it comes out, one lady comes and says, I want that earring. Another lady says, no, I want that necklace. And the third one says, I want that bracelet. But actually, there is only gold and nothing else. So, if you have got eyes for gold, you will see only gold. But if you are under illusion, you will see these various things like the bracelets, the anklets, the earrings. So like that you will be seeing these various shapes. It is the shapes which has become different, and you have given some imaginary name called the bracelet, earring, etc. These are all only simply words, but in its chemical composition or its constituents, there has been no change. It has been remaining changeless. But all the changes are only in your mind. You have imagined and you have given something. There is no change at all. Gold remains as gold. Satchidatmanyanusyute nidye Vishnu prakalpita. So Vishnu here doesn't mean the Lord Vishnu. Vishnu here means that Supreme Brahman who is everywhere. Vishu Vyaptau. Vishu means that which pervades every place. That is why he is called Vishnu. Vishnu means the one who is all pervasive, who is everywhere. As I said, when he is the material cause, naturally there is no item in this world where he has not interpenetrated. He is there. So, Satchidatmanyam Syude. So in all the items, the base is only gold. Whether it's a bracelet, whether it's an anklet, there is only gold. Similarly, whether it's a leaf, whether it's a pillar, whether it's a fan, whether it's a man, they are all the supreme consciousness called the Brahman only and nothing else. So that Brahman is अनुस्यूते